Welcome to our exploration of the top creepy places in Utah. Utah is a land of extremes, where red rock deserts meet snow-capped peaks and silent ghost towns dot the endless horizon. Beneath its breathtaking natural beauty lies a darker history, one marked by forgotten tragedies, abandoned settlements, and legends whispered on the wind. Drive through its winding canyons and you'll encounter frontier outposts frozen in time, weathered mining towns, and sacred lands where the past feels uncannily close. It's a state as mysterious as it is magnificent, and some say, deeply haunted. Utah's story is one of pioneers, outlaws, and lost souls. From the earliest settlers to the boomtown miners, countless lives have left their mark here, sometimes in ways that can still be felt. Locals tell tales of restless spirits, cursed grounds, and places where the boundary between this world and the next grows thin. Tonight, we're peeling back the surface of Utah and stepping into its shadows. These are the creepiest places in the state, sites where legends linger and the dead may still walk among us. Before we enter the realm of the unknown, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out as we uncover the mysteries of creepy places. Remember to like, share, and comment below with your own tales of the supernatural. Number 5. Rio Grand Depot, Salt Lake City, Utah. The Rio Grand Depot, completed in 1910, stands as one of Salt Lake City's most iconic historical landmarks. Built to serve as a major railway hub for the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, the station was designed in the Renaissance Revival style, its grand facade and ornate interiors reflecting the optimism and ambition of the early 20th century. For decades, the depot bustled with passengers, soldiers, and families, serving as a gateway to the American West. Hauntings at the Rio Grande Depot have been reported for generations, with the most enduring legends centered on the apparition known as the Purple Lady. According to historical accounts and numerous eyewitness reports, the Purple Lady is described as a beautiful woman in a purple dress, often seen in the ladies' restroom and throughout the main hall. The most common version of her origin story dates to the early 1900s. She and her fiancé argued on the platform, and in the chaos, her engagement ring was thrown onto the tracks. In her desperate attempt to retrieve it, she was struck and killed by an oncoming train. Since then, her spirit is said to linger, searching for the lost ring. Security guards, staff, and visitors have reported a range of unexplained phenomena. Sudden drops in temperature, the scent of floral perfume with no apparent source, and disembodied footsteps echoing on the mezzanine are all part of the lore. Doors have been known to open and close on their own, and the sound of a woman sobbing has been heard in deserted areas of the building. Multiple accounts describe the Purple Lady's apparition as strikingly lifelike, with dark hair and a palpable sense of sorrow. She's most frequently encountered in the women's restroom, where some have reported seeing her reflection in the mirror or feeling an icy presence behind them. Other phenomena include objects moving inexplicably and lights flickering in the depot's historic cafe. The Rio Grande Depot continues to attract both history enthusiasts and paranormal investigators, many of whom have recorded unusual audio and video anomalies during their visits. Despite renovations and changes in use, the stories persist, cementing the depot's reputation as one of Utah's most haunted public spaces. Number 4. Peery Hotel, Salt Lake City, Utah. In the heart of downtown Salt Lake City stands the Peery Hotel, a century-old landmark whose stately prairie school architecture and marble-clad lobby whisper of a more opulent era. Built in 1910, the hotel rose alongside the city's growing fortunes, its guest book filled with names of railroad magnates, traveling performers, and hopeful newcomers drawn to Utah's promise. The Peery has survived wars, economic upheaval, and the slow transformation of the city around it, its ornate fixtures and creaking floors bearing silent witness to the passage of time. Yet beneath its polished surface, the Peery Hotel is a place where the past is never quite at rest. For generations, guests and staff have told stories of encounters that defy explanation. The most enduring legend is that of the Moaning Woman, an apparition said to haunt the hotel's hallways and its original elevator. Her presence is typically announced by a sudden icy chill and the unmistakable sound of sorrowful cries echoing through empty corridors. Some say she is the lingering spirit of a guest who suffered heartbreak or tragedy here, a theory fueled by the hotel's long history of welcoming travelers seeking refuge from the storms of life. The elevator, a relic from the hotel's earliest days, has earned its own reputation. Known among staff as Moaning Molly, it's the source of countless reports. Guests hearing faint voices when the doors slide open, or feeling a cold breath on the back of their neck as they ride alone late at night. Housekeepers have described returning to freshly cleaned rooms only to find furniture moved or lights switched on, as if an unseen visitor had passed through. It isn't just the moaning woman who is said to linger here. Some employees speak of a spectral figure known as Eddie, a man in period dress who wanders the upper floors, vanishing around corners or into locked rooms. Others have reported the laughter of ghostly children echoing through the halls in the small hours of the morning, playful, fleeting, and always just out of sight. Paranormal investigators who have spent the night at the Peery Hotel describe sudden temperature drops, unexplained electromagnetic spikes, and the uneasy sensation of being watched from the shadows. Guests have written of vivid, unsettling dreams, and of waking to find impressions on their beds as if someone had been sitting there, silently observing them. Despite renovations and modern amenities, the atmosphere remains charged, a blend of elegance and melancholy that seems to invite the past to linger just a little longer. The Peery Hotel endures as both a symbol of Salt Lake City's golden age and one of its most storied haunted sites. For those who check in, the question is never just what they'll experience, but who, or what, might be waiting in the quiet hours before dawn. Would you spend the night knowing how many stories here remain unfinished? Number 3. Park City Silver Mines, Park City, Utah. Beneath the bustling streets and ski slopes of modern Park City lies a hidden world, a sprawling network of tunnels and shafts carved deep into the Wasatch Mountains. The Park City Silver Mines were once the beating heart of a boomtown, their origins dating back to the Great Silver Rush of the late 19th century. In those days, Park City was a place of wild ambition and constant peril. Its fortunes built on the backs of men who labored in darkness for a chance at prosperity. The mines themselves were a marvel of engineering and endurance, stretching for miles beneath the earth. But life underground was unforgiving. Miners faced suffocating heat, sudden cave-ins, and the ever-present threat of fire or gas explosions. Records from the era tell of lives lost in an instant, men crushed by falling rock, suffocated by noxious fumes, or trapped when tunnels collapsed. Accidents were common, and the town above would sometimes wake to the sound of rescue bells, signaling another disaster below. It was not just the physical dangers that left their mark. As the years passed, a culture of superstition and ghost stories grew among the miners. Some claimed to hear voices in the darkness, urgent, indistinct whispers that seemed to well up from the very stone. Others spoke of icy drafts and sealed tunnels and the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. There were tales of shadowy figures flitting just beyond the reach of lantern light, and of the phantom echo of pickaxes striking stone long after work had ceased for the night. When the silver veins ran dry and the mines were abandoned, their stories did not fade. Explorers and historians who ventured into the sealed passages described the air as heavy and expectant, charged with a sense of unfinished business. Some reported sudden drops in temperature, unexplained noises, and fleeting glimpses of spectral miners, faces pale and hollow, clothing caked with dust, vanishing into the gloom as quickly as they appeared. Paranormal investigators have recorded strange electromagnetic readings and captured disembodied voices on tape, further fueling the mine's haunted reputation. For Park City, the legacy of the silver mines is twofold: a testament to the resilience and sacrifice that built the town, and a lingering shadow beneath its prosperity. The tunnels remain, silent and dark, their walls bearing witness to both the triumphs and the tragedies of a vanished era. Would you descend into these depths, knowing how many never return to the light? Number 2. Tooele Hospital and Asylum 49, Tooele, Utah. Tooele Hospital's story begins in 1873, when it was constructed as the stately home of Samuel F. Lee and his family. For decades, the house stood as a symbol of stability on the outskirts of Tooele. But as the 20th century unfolded, its walls would witness a far different legacy. By the 1950s, the property had transformed into the Tooele Valley Hospital, a modest, often underfunded facility that served as a last resort for the sick and elderly across the county. From the very start, The hospital's resources were stretched thin. It lacked a proper morgue, so the bodies of those who passed away were sometimes kept in makeshift holding rooms for hours, or even days, before they could be taken away. Many patients died here, some succumbing to illness or injury, others simply lost to time and neglect. Staff members spoke in hushed tones of rooms that felt unbearably cold, doors that would not stay closed, and the persistent sense that someone, or something, was watching from the shadows. There were stories of patients who died alone, their passing marked by nothing but silence, and of children lost to disease whose laughter was said to echo faintly in the halls long after their deaths. As the hospital's operations wound down and it was converted into a nursing home, the tragedies continued. Elderly residents sometimes passed away in their rooms, undiscovered for hours. Caregivers reported hearing soft voices in empty corridors, seeing fleeting shadows, and feeling sudden chills that could not be explained by any draft. The emotional weight of decades of suffering, loss, and unresolved endings seemed to settle into the very bones of the building. When the facility finally closed in 2002, the structure was left to the elements, its history of hardship and sorrow lingering in every room. 4 years later, it was reborn as Asylum 49, a haunted attraction that quickly gained notoriety for experiences that went far beyond stage scares. Actors and visitors alike have described encounters with apparitions. A nurse in an old-fashioned uniform gliding silently through the halls, a young boy appearing near the former children's ward, and the feeling of being touched or watched by invisible hands. Paranormal investigators have documented unexplained cold spots, electromagnetic anomalies, and voices captured on tape, all of which seem to confirm what so many have felt. Tooele Hospital is a place where the tragedies of the past have never truly faded. Would you walk these halls alone, knowing how many stories here ended in sorrow, and how many might still be waiting for closure? Number 1. Mountain Meadows Massacre Site, southwestern Utah. In the remote high desert of southwestern Utah, the land rolls in gentle waves of sage and grass, silent beneath a sky that seems to stretch forever. But this tranquil landscape is haunted by one of the darkest chapters in American frontier history. The Mountain Meadows Massacre Site marks the ground where, in September of 1857, tragedy and violence left an indelible scar on the land and all who remember it. The story begins with a wagon train of immigrants, men, women, and children, traveling from Arkansas to California. As the Baker Fancher party made camp at Mountain Meadows, they found themselves caught in a web of suspicion and fear. Tensions between local Mormon settlers and outsiders were high, fueled by years of conflict, mistrust, and rumors of war. Over the course of several days, the emigrants were besieged by a group that included members of the local militia and their Native American allies. On the morning of September 11th, under a false promise of safe passage, nearly all of the party, over 100 people, were killed. Only a handful of young children were spared. For decades, the massacre was shrouded in secrecy and silence. The site itself, isolated and windswept, became a place of uneasy memory. Locals whispered of ghostly apparitions, figures glimpsed at the edge of dawn, the sound of children crying on the wind, or the eerie sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Visitors have described sudden chills, overwhelming sorrow, and the feeling that the past is never far away. Some report seeing shadowy forms moving among the trees, or hearing faint voices carried across the meadows. Historians and descendants of both victims and perpetrators have returned to Mountain Meadows in search of understanding, but the land seems to hold its secrets close. Memorials now stand where the violence unfolded, solemn reminders of the lives lost and the weight of history. The massacre's legacy endures not just in books and testimony, but in the palpable atmosphere that settles over the site, a sense of unfinished business, of grief that cannot be fully laid to rest. Would you walk this ground, knowing the sorrow and unanswered questions that still linger in the silence? As we close our journey through the haunted heart of the Beehive State, one thing is clear: Utah's past is never truly at rest. Beneath its sweeping deserts and towering peaks, the echoes of tragedy and mystery linger, haunting the very places where lives were shaped and lost. Whether it's the restless spirits in old hotels, shadows moving through abandoned mines, or the sorrow that hangs over sacred ground, Utah's stories refuse to fade. This has been Tyler. Thank you for joining me on this chilling exploration of the top creepy places in Utah. If these tales of the supernatural stirred your curiosity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own stories in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay creepy. Bye for now.